On the morning of April 20th, 1999, Columbine High School in Littleton, Colorado looked like any other American high school. Students were laughing in the hallways, teachers were preparing their lessons, and the school day had just begun. But outside in the parking lot, two students were preparing for something horrifying. Their names were Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold. Both were seniors at Columbine High School. To most people, they appeared quiet and ordinary, but behind the scenes they had been planning a violent attack for months. They gathered weapons, built homemade bombs, and wrote disturbing messages in journals and videos about their hatred and anger. Just before lunchtime, the two arrived at school carrying bags filled with explosives and firearms. Their original plan was even more devastating than what eventually happened. They placed large propane bombs inside the school cafeteria, hoping the explosion would kill hundreds of students during lunch. But the bombs never detonated. When their plan failed, Harris and Klebold decided to begin shooting. At around 11:19 a.m., they opened fire outside the school. Students who were sitting on the grass during lunch suddenly heard gunshots and began running in panic. Within minutes, the attackers moved inside the school building. Chaos spread through the halls. Teachers rushed students into classrooms and locked doors. Some students hid under desks. Others ran for exits. Emergency calls flooded 911 lines as terrified voices described what was happening. The shooters moved through the school, firing randomly. One of the most terrifying moments happened inside the school library, where many students had been hiding under tables. Witnesses later said the attackers walked through the library, mocking students before shooting. By the time the attack ended, 12 students and one teacher had been killed. More than 20 others were injured. Police surrounded the school, unsure how many attackers were inside. For hours, officers carefully moved through the building. Eventually, they discovered that Harris and Klebold had turned their weapons on themselves. The Columbine High School massacre shocked the entire world. News stations broadcast the story for days. Parents across the country questioned how something like this could happen inside a school. Investigators spent months examining the attackers' plans, their journals, and their motives. Columbine became one of the most infamous school shootings in American history. It changed how schools approached security, bullying awareness, and emergency responses. More than 2 decades later, the tragedy of Columbine is still remembered as one of the darkest days in American school history.